good afternoon or morning, depending on where you're watching from, and welcome to Mediavine's first State of the Vine with CEO Eric Hochberger. I'm your host, Jenny Guy. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to keep up this whole news thing for the whole time, but I just wanted to go in with like a strong because of that intro. Amazing. All right. Hello, everybody. I am Jenny Guy here with Eric Hochberger. And as we all know too well, the content creation industry moves fast and can change in an instant. Our new show is where you can turn for expert answers to your burning questions on everything from the latest privacy news to SEO tips. And of course, a hearty helping of all things Mediavine, new products, features, and optimization advice, all aimed at maximizing your earnings. And who is that expert I was just talking about? It's the man behind our ad tech and in front of Mediavine CEO and co-founder, Eric Hochberger. Eric, welcome to your very own show.
Hey, Jenny, thanks. It's good to be here. I'm glad to not be crashing yours all the time. This is fun.
So exciting. Okay, welcome everybody. If you have questions for Eric, please feel free to drop them in the comments section, but just fair warning, we've already collected a fair amount of questions from you in the past week. Thank you to everybody for contributing those. Not to worry though, if we don't get to your question live on this episode, we have Mediavine team monitoring the comments to help you. And there will always be next episode. We're going to be doing these probably about every other month. So there will always be another chance. So don't worry. Before we dive into questions for Eric, let's start with one for our audience. Audience, how is November looking in terms of earnings for you so far? Let us know in the comments. How are you feeling about everything? And let's get into it, Eric. Okay, I want to start off with the big elephant turkey in the room. Next week is Thanksgiving, one of the biggest holidays in the United States, but most importantly for our audience, it's typically the most wonderful time of the year for digital content creators. Eric, would you explain why?
Sure. Yeah, no, we're about to enter what I think most of us think Q4 is, but I think Q4 truly begins at the most magical time of the year, which is starting with Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving here in America. So we have on Friday, traditionally, that used to be a retail day where people would go into stores, and we on the internet have stolen it to being our start of our Q4. Even though we do have things like Cyber Monday and all that other fun stuff afterwards, really, that is when spend increases up until basically right before Christmas, a few days before. So this is the best time for ad earnings.
We are getting comments from everybody. Sam just said, love November earnings. Ricky said, November earnings so far are fire. Everybody is having a good time. So now with a little bit of background on why next week, well, actually, is it just because that everybody is shopping online? Is that why the budgets are so high? Or is it also the fact that when we have, with Brad's behind the numbers with Brad, and he talks about the seasonality, is it also that it's the end of the year, budgets are being dumped? Is all of that coming into play?
It's a culmination of so many amazing things. Exactly. You have a lot of companies that will set budgets for the whole year that they have to spend really in the last couple of months, because most companies' fiscal years end with the calendar year. You're coming to the end of a quarter. You're coming to, again, the end of the year. You're coming to all these holidays where people are spending. It is just a great, wonderful culmination of all of the above.
It is magic. As Henry Cavill is in The Witcher. It's a good time. So now that we have a little background on why next week is hopefully going to be so wonderful, and we already have some feedback from people that it is wonderful, is there anything that content creators can do between now and then to ensure that we're earning top dollar?
Yeah, so I think this is similar advice we like to give always around this time of the year, which is go analyze your top 10 posts. And really what you want to do is look into your Google Analytics for your top 10 posts or in your Mediavine dashboard for last year, see what your seasonal stuff is about to start to pop or anything that's already popping, and make sure it's optimized for revenue. Go through all of our tricks for making sure things like, you've increased your content length, your line height, your font size, all the fun stuff that Mediavine's given you. Make sure that you're doing that for your top 10 posts that you have today, and really the top 10 posts that you're predicting are going to do well seasonally. And then obviously making sure that you are running all of the latest Mediavine features. So things like universal player, making sure Skylight's enabled, in view, and doing all those things right now. Don't wait until, Black Friday, because you want to make sure that everything is up and running and ramped up in time.
So quickly, if I'm checking in Google Analytics, you would suggest looking like isolating dates for last year, historical data for November and December to figure it out. But then on the Mediavine dashboard, same thing, November, December, or
Same thing.
Okay, great, perfect.
I would say definitely do your top 10 that are big now, because they'll probably be big in a week. But knowing that you have posts that have done well historically, again, previously during the same period, they might pop again, especially if you're planning on sharing those things, or if they're seasonally themed for searches. Make sure those are optimized and you don't forget about those from past years.
Okay. You said a lot of words like universal player, skylight, la, 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 la. So let's go. Can we go into each one of those individually and explain a little more about what they are, please?
Yeah. So I think the universal player is the easiest money button. So let's start with that one. That is our replacement for basically most of the video content that creators have historically been making. So that is video content that you set to autoplay, that maybe you didn't intend every user to go click play. So it might not be your highest quality video content you've made. The universal player replaces that. It's going to make you a lot more money using something that's known as outstream. I could geek out what that means in the ad tech world, but just know it's going to pay you very well, because it's basically video ads without the need to wait for content to finish. So you have video ad after video ad, and it's much cheaper because you don't have to produce that content anymore as a video creator. And instead, you can spend your precious energy when you do create video content on content you only plan on a user clicking play to watch. So universal player, replacement for your video strategy. Turn it on today.
Awesome. A supplemental, right? The video strategy, they work hand in hand. It's not necessarily that we're advocating for don't make video anymore, because we know that video is where everything is heading these days. Yes.
Yeah, I just want you to be able to refocus your energies on video, right? Create video that you know you're only making for users. Don't make videos for ads anymore. Make videos for users. Make videos for social media. Make video that people want to watch. Don't create video for the sole purpose of ad revenue. You don't need to do that anymore. You just need to turn on the universal player. Do both.
Fantastic. Guys, audience in the shout out, if you are running universal player and you have seen it make a significant difference in your revenue, tell us in the comments. We would love to hear about that, while Eric tells us about Skylight.
Skylight's another one that's almost an easy money button. If you're running optimized ads for CLS, we have previously reserved a slightly larger space for ads to potentially bigger ads to render. And what we do with Skylight is we actually will now render even bigger ads, but don't take up any more space, because they're basically going to have this really cool effect as you're scrolling through that little box and you just get a little window into that ad. So Skylight allows you to run bigger ads or higher paying ads without creating any more like disruption in the user experience that big ads are associated with. So it's kind of a win-win. I definitely want to turn that one on as well.
So absolutely no downsides to running Skylight. It's one that it's another button for money.
Exactly. Another easy button that's not going to disrupt the user experience while making you more money.
Love that. Speaking of ad earnings, I would like to take a moment to brag on the Mediavine engineers and specifically our ad tech team, because while we were talking about earlier, next week should hold terrific spend across the board for anyone running programmatic advertising. The Mediavine team really does work all year on innovative ways to increase earnings for our publishers. So could you give us a little behind the scenes about who we have working on ad tech, how many we have, how much time and money, and what have they been doing in the last year?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, and this is something that Jenny and I have discussed, we don't talk a lot about ad tech, I feel like, on a lot of our lives, especially when I was hopping on Teal Talks. And part of the problem is ad tech is not as much fun as some of the more user-facing stuff that we work on. So Grow, things you can see and touch and use on your websites, versus ad tech, which is mostly happening on servers that we don't even know where they are, because they're all hosted by Amazon, somewhere in the cloud, as they say. Like it's not as exciting to talk about. But that ad tech team that we have is what pays all the bills, right? We have an unbelievable set of ad tech engineers, product managers, people that deal with partner relations. We have sales teams, we have ad operations. It's more than half of our company is dedicated just towards ad tech. And it does feel like a thing we don't talk about enough. But that team has built a ton of innovative stuff beyond what you can see. So Universal Player, Skylight, InView, these are all features that you get to enable and enjoy and see. But all the cool stuff is really a lot of the stuff you don't even see. So a lot of the things behind the Universal Player are all the work our team has done to build integrations with, 30 plus demand sources that are running outstream that nobody else has access to, other than Mediavine publishers, because we were one of the first to embrace what's known as outstream with the universal player. So you don't necessarily get to see and experience everything that team works on, but that is the reason your revenue is so high.
So huge shout out to all of the Mediavine teams constantly working to make the most of every single session you have on your site and every visitor. Love that. Okay, here's an eternal question that I think we get a lot. We actually polled our wonderful, speaking of great teams, our wonderful support team, asking them about any questions that they've been getting a lot of. And here is one that they've been hearing quite frequently from our publishers. Should we focus on optimizing current content for Q4 or focus on creating new content?
That is always the hardest balance, right? Like you have to do both is the answer you probably don't want to hear. Hopefully over time, enough of your existing content will already be optimized, right? That maybe you're just going in and doing a quick little refresh to be able to hopefully get a nice updated modified timestamp, be able to reappear in Google, reappear in social and all that fun stuff. But really, the ad optimizations is a thing you hopefully only have to do once. So making sure your content is formatted properly, it's engaging, and then you're really just going in to make small tweaks to update the content itself. But yeah, again, as I said earlier on in this live, you really want to focus on your top performing content from Q4, and then still always make content, because there's nothing that does better for you than fresh content, new content you're constantly creating. And it would be very silly to not make new content during the most valuable time of the year. So we're going to have to tell you, unfortunately, both.
In addition to the tweaks that you're making for good performance for both user experience and for your ads, like more hard returns, larger font size, things like that, is it a good idea to go back and update all of your interlinking in those top performing posts right now, like to new content?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely use this as a chance to put on a fresh coat of SEO paint onto those posts. So yeah, one of the best ways to do that is you have probably created a lot of new content since you first made those posts. So exactly as Jenny said, thinking about internal linking, go to those posts and link to some of your new content if it's related or relevant. So that's a great one. And again, just literally making sure, did I do the right headline? Or did search terms even change since I first wrote this post? Because search terms even change over time, right? Or what are people still searching for what I created? Are there small tweaks I can make? SEO is a garden, as I always like to say. You got to continuously maintain it, right? You can't just create a post once and forget about it. And also you want to make sure the opposite direction, right? Posts you've created are linking back to that one. So you might have created new content and forgot. You have this magical post that appears in Q4 that does really well for you. Consider linking to it as you go to refresh it as well.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Going to get to some of our questions that people have written in with. One, this is such a great question. I loved it. It's from Cheryl from Two Kooks in the Kitchen. Blogging will still be a viable and lucrative business in the next 5 to 10 years if publishers do the following 3 things. How do we keep viable and in business as bloggers with all the changes that are coming?
Yeah, no, there's certainly a lot of changes. So tip one, or top number one thing, stick with Mediavine, right? Obviously, and follow so much of the advice we're giving. So I think when it comes to things like privacy, we have unique chances as publishers right now to reclaim our audience. So that is my top tip, reclaiming your audience. Go back to the golden era of blogging where we used to write for our readers. Think about that relationship you used to have with readers, and that's what you really want to be thinking about. So one of the ways we really encourage that is through email newsletters. That's my tip number 2. Start building your email newsletter and use that as a chance to grow that relationship with your reader you used to have. And again, not to say that none of us have it anymore, but so many of us have switched to writing for Google or optimizing for Pinterest or whatever it may be, and we often forget there's actual people there that used to connect with us. And some of us still have them that go in our comments, or we still know they comment on everything we post in social. But it's really about taking back that relationship, because that's going to be how we survive the privacy era, by being the ones that own that relationship, as opposed to what they call the walled gardens, or the big social media networks and the big search engines. So take back your audience. And then third tip is I just like to diversify. I think that's the best advice you can have, mostly in life, with anything you're investing in, and certainly within your own business. So whether it's diversifying your traffic, making sure you're not just, on Pinterest traffic, or not just Facebook, or even not just SEO. You really want it across the whole thing. If we've learned one thing, one algorithm change from any of those people could wipe out your traffic if you're not diversified. So as great as Google traffic is, it can't be your only source. But again, look to that email, tip number 2. You can start creating a reliable traffic source that you own.
And another place to diversify, I'm going to add a thing here, is in your revenue streams. There are a lot of different ways to ensure that you won't just be relying on one source of revenue. So regardless of what happens, what are some great revenue streams that maybe people haven't considered yet?
Yeah, so I think you're already diversified with your programmatic revenue if you're with Mediavine, right? We're across, 30 different exchanges. We have things like BidShield to keep you protected. So you're well diversified when it comes to your ad revenue. But really, I want everyone to look at ad revenue as just part of their income. And I know a lot of us love it because it's passive, it's easy for the most part, right? After we optimize that content, it just keeps making money for you while you sleep. But there's other sources of income that can do the same thing. Things like affiliate that we talk about a lot here, making sure you're taking advantage of those kind of opportunities, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's any kind of influencer work you can do. There's lots of ways. Digital goods, we see people sell courses, ebooks, all sorts of digital goods are really easy to get into. Obviously, once you get into physical goods, that's great too, but it starts becoming a little more of an endeavor, I think, for most content creators.
Okay, diversify. All right, let's move a little bit into increasing traffic and SEO, one of your very favorite topics. So Julia Jordan from Julia Simply Southern asked earlier, when using a static homepage to show off a section of your most popular recipes, what time should those featured most popular come from? The past year, quarter, all time? Any recommendations here?
So I think this is actually great. So I think a lot of people, it's a great question and it's a great opportunity for SEO. So don't do an automated solution for this. First off, your most popular. You really don't just want the things that are popular right now. You know more than anyone what is popular on your site, what you ranked for. I'm sure you have those terms that you've lost and you might want to get back. Think about using your homepage to direct both Google and your users to what you know are your all-time best posts. So you may have ranked number, in the top 3 for a post that has disappeared in the last year. Get it back. You can use your homepage to do these things. So most popular, nobody's validating or verifying that it is in fact the most trafficked thing on your site. Use this as your opportunity. Tell users what you know is your best content. Tell Google what you know is your best content.
Let's rewind a little bit and talk about, I love it when you make the case for a static homepage. Let's talk about the static homepage.
Yeah, so I think traditionally people think of blogs. You go to the homepage and it just shows the 10 most recent posts because that is the default view, right, of like a WordPress site. If you set up a WordPress site, that's what you get out of the box. I don't think people do that anymore, or people want to do that anymore. So WordPress introduced something called a static homepage, where you can create just a regular page inside of WordPress, and now your homepage can display that instead of it being what's called a feed page. And you're able to customize that. We encourage people to use Gutenberg blocks if you're running WordPress, and you can just build your own. There's a ton of block plugins out there. So whether you're running like our Trellis theme framework or any theme, you can still do this, where you create a static page. We encourage this a lot with Trellis. This is not a unique thing to Trellis. This is a unique thing, and not even a unique thing to WordPress, but this is something all WordPress people should consider. The static homepage allows you to tell your story, tell readers who you are, because remember, most of your readers are not going to your homepage. Think about who's going to your homepage, design your homepage for them. So most of your readers probably just pop right into directly to one of your articles. But when you have a homepage, you get to tell your story for people that want to know it. Make sure you're featuring yourself, have a nice About Us section. You can show off, again, as we were talking about with popular posts. You can tell the story of what your site is about, and that's what it should be, not just your 10 most recent posts.
That is also a great tip for making it easy for brands who you may be wanting to do any sort of that influencer partnerships. That is, I guarantee you this. I used to do this. This was my first click after a post would be onto the homepage, about me, all of that. I want to know what this site is about, what I can expect, who you're talking to, all of that great stuff. So please tell your story. I love that. Tell your story to the people who want to hear it. That is a great tip. Okay. After getting to a good number of traffic, let's assume 500,000, I'm assuming they're talking about page views here. What would you recommend people do to make their business larger and more profitable? And that's all from the Food XP.
Yes, I love this question as well. So first off, it sounds like you're already pretty successful if you're at 500,000 page views. So congrats. It also means you're probably in our pro program, I'm hoping, as well. So once you get to that level, you should be making enough to qualify for pro. And honestly, the best resource to help you grow your business bigger is actually the community here at Mediavine. As great as the advice that we can give you, I am now very good at growing, a company like Mediavine or an ad tech company. The people that are best at telling you how to help grow your business are related people that run businesses just like yours. And you're actually invited into, if you're in pro, an exclusive group of just people at your level. I would go to them with similar questions. Find out what's working for them. I can give you great generic advice on how to scale a business from an ad tech perspective. And that is simply one of my favorite pieces of advice to give people is make sure you're careful of what you outsource, right? I think all of us, as we go to scale, try to outsource everything. That is our goal. Be cognizant of the things that you should be outsourcing. Outsource things that you're miserable at. Outsource, not necessarily you're miserable doing, I should say, not necessarily you're terrible at doing. Don't outsource the things that are pivotal to your business. I see a lot of content creators say, I can outsource my writing. And then often that's when they see a drop. You are the content creator. Don't outsource the things you can't outsource. Outsource the things you don't want to do and it's not your area of expertise. Stop being a bookkeeper, for example. That's something you should outsource.
Excellent. Okay. This is from Katie from Whole Soul Food Kitchen. I'm based in Europe, and while the majority of my traffic is from the US, it is my understanding that I would still need a second pop-up to be GDPR compliant, additionally to having a GDPR compliant privacy policy. Is that correct? Could that somehow be included into the Mediavine pop-up, or would that make no sense?
So, that's a good question. So you definitely want a GDPR compliant privacy policy. We all agree. And I have to caveat everything I'm about to say that I am not a lawyer. So everything I'm going to say, I start with it depends, right? As our favorite lawyer would tell us. So I would say that for the most part, when it comes to your ads, that is what the Mediavine CMP is best for. So that is our consent management platform. That is the pop-up you see currently in the EU when you go to a Mediavine site. That can definitely handle a lot of your ads and a lot of that data collection. If you are collecting data on your own, it is your responsibility to collect that consent before collecting the data. So you're going to know better than anyone what data you collect. You can add those things to the Mediavine CMP. We have something called publisher declarations. But again, I would say it depends on what you're collecting on your site, whether you'll need to do additional things other than the CMP. If you're collecting no data about your users, using nothing else, then you're fine. But you're probably collecting something because you run a website.
Yeah, there's some hidden collection agents on websites, on any plugin, on all of that. Okay. Before we move on to the next question, audience, got a question for you. Let us find out. Believe it or not, this year is rapidly coming to a close. So we want to hear you talk about 2023 goals. Audience, are you dreaming big? Tell us what you have on tap for 2023 for your business. And Eric, another question from earlier in this week from one of our audience. Great question. Tyler from Couch to Homestead says, can you provide an update on how first-party data collection is going with Grow? He's got a few Grow questions, so I'm going to put them all out. Should publishers be educating our users on making a Grow account? And he's also curious about the conversion rate from email sign-up to account creation to boost first-party data.
Awesome. I love all of that. Those are great questions. I would say overall, Grow is achieving most of our internal goals we have set for Grow. We haven't necessarily publicly stated these, but Grow is going along incredibly well for first-party data collection. You compare it to the industry at large, it is light years ahead. You compare it to the competition, same thing. I think everyone at Mediavine is in very good shape that's running Grow today without even having to do the other couple things you've talked about. So just running Grow, making sure you're running things like favorites, spotlight, subscribe, everything you're probably doing. That's our most successful publishers we see using Grow. are running the features that convert best to readers. So how is that conversion looking from when they sign up from an email? I don't want people to stress about that. So Grow is about signups for a long-term goal of Grow, right? We want to have readers having accounts so they can easily log in. But a lot of what Grow is about is just getting them to sign up for your newsletter, getting them to consent to personalized ads, and getting them to continue to come back to your site. Think about that as your goal as opposed to getting them to create Grow accounts today. I think that's a lot easier and a more achievable short-term goal. I think a long-term goal of Grow is absolutely going to be, let us get readers to create accounts and log in. So don't start educating, I think, your readers today. Focus right now on your relationship with your readers and growing that newsletter.
And we will be helping with that, with getting later down the road, we'll be making a lot of features that will entice your readers more strongly to create that Grow account. Currently, we know that burden is on you with providing them incentives with your content. Right, Eric?
Yeah, no, I would say, yeah, exactly. Perfect. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, we are going to help you guys as those features are built out more for Grow, right? We have to give users more incentive to log in. Right now, the main one is being able to save your favorites or be able to get exclusive content. We know that you're going to need more as you go to encourage these readers, and we're here to help. But that, again, is more long-term. Right now, focus on what you can control, your newsletter.
Excellent. Okay. Eric, where do you see the SEO game heading in the next 3 to 5 years? What do you think will be more important and what will be less important? For example, links, content quality, video. That's a question from Andy.
Okay, so I think I want to dispel one rumor real quick because you mentioned it, video. So I don't think just adding video to your post necessarily increases your rankings. I think a lot of people always conflate it with, I just have to add a video. That's going to increase my rankings. Adding things like videos, adding things like recipe schema, all these different schema types just make you eligible for different Google search features. So if you have video, you become eligible for the video carousels. If you have recipes, you become eligible for the recipe carousels. So I don't want anyone creating video for the sole purpose of, oh, look, this post has a video, or I create a recipe, so this post has a recipe. Only create those if that is the opportunity that you want to rank for on that post. And you really have to generally choose one. We haven't seen Google necessarily, they wish-wash and back and forth between recipe and video, but you're not necessarily always going to get both. So pick the schema type that's best for that page when it comes to whether you're making a video for that post. As far as where do I see SEO going, it's the same place it's always been. Google focuses on high quality content. I think people are going nuts right now with things like AI tools. I see a lot of people who test, okay, can I have AI like go and suggest headlines and give me content I should be creating? That is literally the thing that Google is always trying to fight against. So focus on creating high quality original content. That's what Google wants you to create and wants to return to readers. They're trying to avoid AI generated content. As great and awesome as those tools are, use them to supplement. Don't use them to replace what you're doing. As far as links, I know a lot of SEOs say they're less important now. I can promise you, if you look at the top 10 results for most of your rankings, those people still have pretty darn good link profiles coming to them. It really comes down to, are you the authority on a subject? So whether it's EAT, whether it's links, no matter what it is, making sure that you are a trustworthy content creator and you create original quality content will always be the long-term goal with SEO.
All right. Keep making good content is yes. Always the simple answer. Okay. Want to take a quick break to say, give a shout out to the best customer service ever. Yvonne, Tessa, you rock. It's so nice to have you by my side. Thank you. And Rikita, that is such a wonderful comment. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Moving right along to our questions. And I am very excited about this one. Gina from Running to the Kitchen asked, what's the status of the RSS newsletter associated with Grow mentioned earlier this year?
All right. Great question, Gina. It's out now, sort of. No, I'll tell you about this. Fun fact that maybe not everyone knows, Mediavine is actually a publishing company, right? That's how we got our start. We actually own and operate several websites that we do to this day, and they're actually running AutoMailer. Well, some of them. Our own site, Food Fanatic, is. And that is actually the way we build everything here at Mediavine. And not everyone knows this, but we first test on internal sites before we ever take things even to an external beta. And that's currently where AutoMailer is, our basically automated email solution. So it is definitely still coming. And something cool I do want to tell you about it, it's not just an RSS newsletter. Those are easy. You can build those at MailChimp today. This is something so much more. This is actually personalized newsletters for all of your readers. Each reader gets a different newsletter that is customized to them based upon what they click, whether it's on your site, whether it's through recommended content, or whether it's through these emails. It's all powered by Grow. That Grow is continuously trying to learn and deliver the best results to that reader. That's the premise behind Grow, and that's what's powering this. So it's like an RSS newsletter plus. If your recent content is what's going to get that reader to click, that's what they'll be served. But maybe it might be an old goodie post from a year ago that's actually the best thing for that user at that time. And that's what our AI is going to power.
So I'm going to ask the question, when do we get it?
I tried to avoid that. So
you're welcome, everybody.
Ask it. So yeah. I mean, our goal with things once we go internal is to next take it to external beta testing. So if you're interested in external beta testing, make sure you let our team know. I don't know if we have a sign up for that yet, but I would say I'm hoping beta testing can begin with some non-internal publications early next year. So it is definitely coming soon.
It's pretty exciting.
At least for beta testing.
Very exciting. Okay, going to ask another question. What is the status of an ad offering for small or smaller second sites in Grow? This was first talked about a year ago. Can you tell us more about the timeline and the qualification criteria?
It would be impossible to have a live or even a Facebook post without this question coming up. So that's fair. No, we know this is something that the market wants from Mediavine. We're very well aware. One of the things we made sure we did was offering Grow to sites that aren't with Mediavine. So you can actually sign up for Grow today just by going to publishers.grow.me. You can create an account for a second site or for additional sites. You cannot monetize with Mediavine yet, but that will allow you to at least start building your first party data and your relationships today for when you do qualify. So we wanted to make sure that was available to everyone. That one's out there. As far as monetization options go, it is definitely something still on our radar. We're still working towards it. But as always, our goal at Mediavine is to provide the best ad monetization to our existing publishers. And as soon as we feel that we can scale to the smaller offering, we will do so. We want to make sure we do it without hurting existing Mediavine publishers. So I know you feel like it's hurting you because we're not helping your second site, but our obligation is to your first site right now today.
Excellent. Okay. Wondering about the development path of Create. Are there any new features planned for Create in the future? She's asked for, this is Morel, I've asked for improvements to Create that would help more readers apply for a Grow account, for example, using a call to action section in Create.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. A lot of things we want to build for Create are going to be Grow integrations. You're going to see Create and Grow, I think, working even closer together than they do today. One of the ways in which you saw this was when we put the Save Recipe button right inside of the Grow publisher dashboard. So you can go inside the Grow dashboard and turn on a Save Recipe button that just magically enables if you're running Create. So we want to have definitely more of those integrations, including better calls to action for Grow. So I love that idea. I would say it is coming soon, soon-ish. I can't give you an exact date, but that is something we'd love to build.
Okay, Cheryl has another question here from Two Cooks in the Kitchen. Is there any chance of adding a search function for page level data in the dashboard?
I would love that too. So yes, there's definitely a chance. For now, what I would say the best thing to do is export it. If you export that list, it'll go right into whatever spreadsheet you use. Google Sheets, you can do a search from there. But definitely heard that would be nice.
Okay. What is the current plan for Mediavine for the upcoming Google Analytics 4 move? David from The Whole World is a Playground wants to know.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I think as we're all aware, we all have to move to Google Analytics. I believe the date is summer of next year, so like June-ish timeline. So Mediavine is very well aware of this. One of the things we want to do first is we want people to run both. We have help articles on how to do that today. So if you do want to start moving over to GA4, make sure you're still running Universal Analytics. Run both of them for the time being. Allow Mediavine to pull in through Universal Analytics and know, hey, as soon as we're ready, we're going to be like, here's where you enter your GA4. It's going to be a slow migration, just as we're not going to force anyone overnight. because it is also a whole new platform for publishers to get to learn as well. So we will make sure you'll have plenty of time before that deadline to move over to GA4 at Mediavine, but you can start today by collecting both.
Excellent. Okay, let's start talking about 2023 roadmaps. Kenneth from Curl Centric wants to know about Trellis. What's on the 2023 roadmap for that product?
Good question. Right now, we're trying to get out, I know, very stable versions of all of our different child themes that I can tell you. So you'll start seeing kind of the 1.0 versions of all those child themes coming first. We have, honestly, like a lot of just improvements to Trellis under the hood that aren't going to be exciting to a lot of people here, but like tricks to help you debug critical CSS images, all sorts of stuff that I know your technical people will probably appreciate that we've added to make sure that Trellis is, easier to develop against, easier to run. That is all the not sexy stuff to announce for Trellis. But the fun thing that I know we are working on that I think everyone's going to love are the blocks that we've talked about before. So making sure that you can use Trellis to create beautiful homepages, beautiful posts, and still have those fast sites that everyone wants out of Trellis. So we know you want both, not just fast and high revenue from these pages, but also beautiful looking pages. That is coming.
Okay. We have got a question here live from Create Whimsy. Create. When will there be enhancements on lists and how to? Not all of us are recipe creators.
Sure. Love to hear what you're looking for those two, because how to gets most of the same features as our recipes. So that save recipe that we call it is also a save how to, right? You can enable it on both. They don't just save their recipes. Things like jump to recipe, we made sure we built a jump to card function instead. So it works with both. So I think anyone who's running how to is treated as what we would call a first-class citizen with that, right? It's the same as recipes. And lists, let us know what you need from lists. Lists are definitely one of the most exciting parts of Create and something that we brought to the industry and would love to make sure we're building on.
Excellent. All right. So come in with some feedback. We talked about 2023 for Trellis. Let's talk about 2023 for Grow and what we have coming up. You've already mentioned our auto. Am I allowed to? Can I say the name? I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the name.
I don't even know if that's the final name, but yeah, you can call it auto now. That's what we've been calling
Auto mailer. Our amazing email. What do we call it? A platform. Our send service. It's going to change the game. We know that. What else is coming for Grow in 2023?
So again, I think right now in Q4, we're mostly working on less user-facing features for the remaining of this year. So nothing you're going to have to work on, but things like adding additional users to get access to your Grow Publisher portal, making it easier to move from the Mediavine dashboard over to the Grow Publisher portal. That's what the short-term focus is on. But I think you're going to see a lot of these fun features that you want coming next year. So just whatever we can do to help you grow your newsletter is really the main immediate focus of Grow. And that's going beyond just what we have today with Spotlight Subscribe, and we've recently introduced pop-ups and exclusive content. Another big one coming is downloadables that we're focused on. That's helping people that may create, let's say it's a PDF of a craft blogger that someone wants to be able to download the design. You can lock that behind someone who has to now subscribe or create a Grow account in order to be able to get access. So get a nice revenue boost, get someone to sign up for your newsletter, and give them the digital good they wanted.
Fantastic. Okay. So for final question, let's talk about what we have coming up for Mediavine proper. Any ad optimizations, anything in terms of our educational offerings, anything that you're excited about for 2023?
I think honestly, one of the biggest things isn't even just for Mediavine. This is for the ad industry in general. Some of the biggest stuff happening. I want to talk about just overall trends.
Please.
So one of which is the industry is moving away from autoplay video. So I think we all kind of embraced autoplay video as publishers over the last, let's say 4 or 5 years, in order to be able to generate additional ad revenue from our video. And the industry has seen that that's not necessarily the high quality ad content that they wanted, where users are really engaged. So everyone's mind is an advertiser. I'm buying a video ad, and it's people watching something on like Hulu, right? And that they're stuck in front of that screen. But in reality, a lot of those videos ended up being little tiny players in the bottom right-hand corner as we scrolled past the video that we never clicked play on. And so the industry is changing. And what they're looking for is actually what we already built a year and a half ago with the universal player. And that is the idea of, let's not create videos that people aren't watching if we want to create video ad dollars. Instead, let's use what's called outstream. And that's what it's called. In-stream is video that plays inside of the stream, or what you think of as a commercial. Outstream is there's just simply no video content afterwards. And soon, basically the industry has declared any video that is played muted, auto-played without the user watching it, is going to be declared outstream. So everyone is going to be basically finally doing what we did, and they're just going to end up removing their video content that people aren't watching. So I think publishers are going to be really excited that are running the universal player today, that they're going to see a nice boost when that stuff happens, because the industry is catching up to Mediavine.
Yay. The industry is catching up to Mediavine. Okay. And then I want to reiterate from the beginning of this episode, we talked about what publishers can be doing now in the next week, and then what they can do to be getting ready for Q1 and 2023. So I would love to start with, in the next week, what your advice you have, so we can capitalize on that sweet, sweet ad spend, and then moving forward into 2023.
No, I mean, I think it's the advice from the top of the hour,
Yep.
making sure you're optimizing your top posts, making sure you're running all the latest Mediavine features and even our recommended settings. You can always email in for an audit from our team if you're not sure if you're running the right settings. Things like your in-content settings can have a huge impact on your earnings. Sign up for that Mediavine University course, if anything. They improve the RPM elevator.
RPM elevator that you host. Yeah. You're the professor in that course. Mediavine publisher exclusive course. So if you are not sure where to sign up for that, email support@mediavine.com or university@Mediavine. We will get you the link so that you can have that. It's free for Mediavine publishers.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 2023, we're diversifying. What other things can we do to be ready for a killer 2023?
Again, I think Grow is maybe more of in a lot of people's minds, a third-party cookie solution, but it doesn't have to be. Grow can make you more money today. So really, and that is because Safari does not have third-party cookies today. And that's probably, if you have heavily US mobile traffic, probably about 50% of your traffic. So you can make more money today with Grow. So start running Grow. Start building up that audience, because when third-party cookies go away, you're going to want to own that relationship. So I would say, even if you feel that I don't want to touch this until third-party cookies go away, start doing it today, because third-party cookies have gone away on Safari. So running Grow should be a big part of your 2023 strategy, and really using Grow to build your newsletter and build that following back that you used to have. So that is where I want people to really focus their 2023 energies on. A return to the golden era of blogging, as I like to keep calling it.
A return to the golden era of blogging. That sounds wonderful. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We will have Eric back in 2023 to see if some of these predictions have come true, and to talk about what some of these wonderful products and features that we are going to have out in the new year. We want to wish everybody a very safe and happy holiday season. Make sure that you have subscribed to Mediavine on YouTube and liked our Facebook page. And Eric, happy holidays to you.
And happy holidays to you. And thank you, Jenny. This was a great inaugural show. And I will miss being on your Teal Talks, but now we can return to guests that can help our publishers grow their business. So I'm excited for where Teal Talk is going in this.
And you'll come back. We'll have you come back. So we've hooked you. You'll come back again.
Oh, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
Fantastic. All in. All right. We will see you in 2023, everybody. Thank you again.